Chelsea fans, welcome back to Antonio Mango Football Channel, and it's never a dull moment at Chelsea Football Club. Every day there's a new piece of news, so today we're going to be looking at all the transfer news, and in the mix of everything there's still football to be played, so we're going to be previewing the Monday Night Football as Chelsea welcome Graham Potter, yes, Graham Potter's West Ham to Stamford Bridge. Why don't we start with the latest transfer news? And Matthias Tell's name keeps on cropping up across every single Premier League club. Looks like Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Manchester United are all interested in the French striker. But it was Chelsea that were first to get in touch about Matthias Tell to Bayern Munich, and it still could happen if Christopher Nkunku is allowed to depart. The way I say this is Christopher Nkunku is clearly not valued under Enzo Maresca. He's a terrific player but doesn't fit his system. Matthias Tell's profile suits Chelsea a lot better than Christopher Nkunku. So we've got an asset that Bayern Munich want, and Bayern Munich have got an asset that we want. So a deal is definitely there to be made, but it's up to the player himself. And from what I've heard, Matthias Tell prefers a loan move because he wants to succeed at Bayern Munich. But in truth, I would love Matthias Tell at Bayern Munich. I think he's terrific. He was one of those players where you watch at youth level and he just looked levels above everybody else. That's not me saying he's going to become an absolute world beater, because there's so many factors that stop or prevent players reaching their potential. However, the profile and the player and the technical ability, the attributes are all there. And then the biggest news that came out today is Chelsea have joined the race to sign Evan Ferguson from Brighton. I would actually welcome this as a loan deal because there's no guarantees that he's going to hit the ground running. And Brighton, I don't think would want to sell straight away and would probably want a hefty amount. If I'm the directors of Chelsea Football Club, I'm probably looking at this and thinking, if we loan him, we don't want an obligation to buy, because what if it goes south? We don't want a dry loan, because if he absolutely kills it, it's just going to up Brighton's price. So the only and rightly, correctly thing for Chelsea to do here is a loan with an option to buy. So then Chelsea have kind of got the future of the player in their hands. That will allow them to decide if he's worthy of buying or if you can just send him back to Brighton. But from what we've seen when he first broke through, he kind of fits that mold of what we need. Yes, he's still incredibly raw and still some inconsistencies, but that's up to Enzo Maresca to coach him to become a better player. And then when it comes to defenders, there's been more news coming out today. As it stands, Chelsea have blocked the departure of Axel Disasi to Aston Villa. If this is true, this is quite surprising to me. I don't understand why Chelsea would want to keep Disasi. It's probably because he doesn't want to strengthen Aston Villa, I'm guessing. But if Chelsea's career has anything to go by, he's prone to a mistake. And even when you look at Chelsea's centre-backs, they're definitely covered in the centre-back with recalling Chalobah. They've got Trevor Chalobah, Tosin, Levi Colwell, Joshua Chempong. They've recalled Aaron Anselmino. They've got Wesley Fofana, who might not play this season, but then they've got Benoit Balashile coming back soon. So even without Wesley Fofana, we're going to have 5 fit centre-backs. What annoys me about Disasi staying is it diminishes the opportunities that Joshua Chempong will get. And for me right now, I would pick Joshua Chempong from what I've seen against Crystal Palace over Disasi. Now, I'm not saying Disasi is absolutely terrible, because if anybody watched him at Monaco, that's not the case. It's just Chelsea isn't the right club or the right environment for him. So for the benefit of his own career, he has to leave. And then the last piece of news is Aston Villa director Monchi confirms João Felix. Unai trusts João's talent. We were close to getting a deal done last summer. These years, he's been a part of our desires. Look, Monchi, Unai Emery clearly rate João Felix. Aston Villa have just received north of 60 million for John Duran, so I do expect a bid to come in the next few days. And if I put myself in João Felix's situation at the minute, although he loves Chelsea Football Club and instead he loves being at the football club, he's got to leave. For the benefit of his own career, he's got to step away from Chelsea Football Club, because even when our forward line are having a poor game, he's not getting a look in. So it's clear that Enzo Maresca doesn't see him part of Chelsea Football Club. In truth, I don't think Chelsea ever seen João Felix as part of Chelsea Football Club. I kind of feel like this was one of those deals with Atletico Madrid where it's you scratch our back, we'll scratch your back. Chelsea had to sell an academy product to comply with PSR rules. So getting rid of Conor Gallagher, Atletico Madrid did Chelsea a favour. Now I believe Chelsea have done Atletico Madrid a favour by getting rid of João Felix's wages. And in these situations, I feel sorry for the footballers because they're getting moved from club to club without a plan. And when you don't get the opportunity to even showcase yourself, it's so demoralising. So although I would like João Felix to stay, I want him to go and just enjoy his Chelsea's football. But in the mix of all this, we do have some football to be played. And Monday night, as Graham Potter returns to Stamford Bridge. And as you can see, his time at Chelsea didn't really go to plan. He had the joint lowest points per game for any manager that's managed over 20 games in the Premier League for Chelsea. But this is Chelsea Football Club we're talking about, and we all know what's going to happen. Graham Harry Potter is going to come back and haunt us, without a doubt. It's just written in the stars now. Magic Graham Potter brings blues to Stamford Bridge. That's actually quite a good headline. But in truth, what can you expect from West Ham? Well, Graham Potter's style of play is characterised by adaptability, flexibility, focusing on possession, which they have done a lot since Graham Potter come in, and he's known for using various formations, structures, and selecting different personnels. And I had a look at these 4 games in charge of West Ham, where he's lost 2, drawn 1, won 1. In his first 2 games, he's set up in a 4-2-3-1, and then his last 2 games, he's set up in a 3-4-2-1. When it comes to defensively pressing, usually when there's a quick turnover, they're pressing a 4-4-2. But when the opposing team has possession over longer periods, he reverts to a 5 at the back. Now, Graham Potter's known for his high press and wanting to squeeze the opposition. This just prevents any counter-attacks or sudden attacks or quick attacks or direct attacks, however you want to call it. But that's complete opposite to Julian Lopetegui. So that game at West Ham earlier on in the season, I expect this one to be a lot different. So I expect West Ham to press higher up the pitch and also try and keep the ball a lot more. Now, when you look at their graph statistics, it tells 1,000 stories, but I don't think this is based on Graham Potter's style of play. This is more Julian Lopetegui from the beginning of the season. They did a lot of counter presses. They didn't press very much. And if the percentile is anything to go by, they were most highest in their defensive percentile, where they were in the top 15th out of any club in the top 7 leagues. That just literally goes to tell you that they didn't keep the ball very much under Julian Lopetegui, and they did a lot of defending. Now, the big question is, has Graham Potter had the time to get his tactics and ideas implemented into the squad? Now, personally, I've watched them since Graham Potter's come in, and West Ham have definitely improved. Now, this is a season comparison to Chelsea, and Chelsea pretty much beat them on every single aspect apart from physicality. Now, personally, I'm not too worried about that because I think we set a blueprint on how to beat West Ham earlier on in the season, and you need to get their defenders facing their own goal. Their defenders don't have the spatial awareness to track runners, and that's been evident throughout the season. But Chelsea don't come into this in great form themselves. Only 1 win in the last 7 Premier League games, which isn't good enough for a team with Champions League ambitions. Let's start with the starting 11. I don't think there's going to be any changes personally, and I don't know why. I just think he's going to try and get some consistency in the starting 11, which me personally I think is the right thing to do. Perhaps bringing Jorgensen for Sanchez. I would like to say that. I think Sanchez has now made 1 too many errors, and he needs to be punished for it. You can't continue to make errors, continue to play, because you won't ever learn from your mistakes. Now, just as I've mentioned previously, we set a blueprint on how to beat West Ham earlier on in the season. Be brave and committing bodies forward, making deep runs through the inside and outside channels, especially if they play 3 at the back. If they do play 3 at the back, let's use the width to our advantage. West Ham all season have struggled to track runners, and I've got some images to identify this. They lack spatial awareness. So for me, Nicholas Jackson needs to go back to being Nicholas Jackson at the start of the season. Lots of off-ball movement, and I think during transition moments, Cole Palmer needs to get back playing alongside Nicholas Jackson. At the start of the season, they were forming a great partnership. Cole Palmer was beginning to run in behind. We've seen that goal against West Ham where Nicholas Jackson played him through. I want to see more of that. I feel like now when we're struggling to win games, Cole Palmer's dropping more deeper. I don't want that. Stay up there, support Nicholas Jackson, and we'll be able to transition a lot better, more efficiently. I would use our wingers as part of the 4, as well as Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson, because I think Enzo Fernandez is going to be absolutely crucial in this game. His ability and his vision from deep and his technical execution could really exploit West Ham. So if I have a look at our starting 11 in full, this is how I expect us to line up. Perhaps Sanchez in place of Jorgensen, or Jorgensen in place of Sanchez. I don't know what Enzo Maresca is going to do, but I do expect us to keep the same 11, because that front 4 was a front 4 that played against West Ham at the beginning of the season and was scored 3. That double pivot was exactly the same. So if I have a look at the players in isolation, I think Reece James has to start. I think he's absolutely terrific. Since come back from injury, he's been brilliant. I think Chalobah has been a blessing in disguise for his return. And I think with Levi Colwill, I've seen a lot of criticism on Levi Colwill, but I actually feel sorry for the guy because he's had no consistency next to him, continuously changing his partner is impacting his performance. Now, if you can get that continuity with Chalobah, it's only going to benefit with, so I would definitely start with the two again. Then Marc Cucurella at left back. I think the middle two, Moses Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, is a great partnership. I think Moses Caicedo is better with Romeo Lavia beside him because Moses Caicedo is a type of player that wants to engage. He anticipates play. So what I like to call a jumper, he jumps out of his position in order to engage and play on his natural instincts. That's what he does. So he needs a screen protector alongside him. That's why we're getting caught out in transition. But I think against West Ham, these two will be able to cope. Noni Madueke, who scored against Man City, didn't have his best of games, but I think Enzo Maresca likes him, especially against teams that play three at the back. Jadon Sancho, then Cole Palmer in the midfield alongside Nicholas Jackson. And I think Cole Palmer needs to get closer to Nicholas Jackson so they can start building that partnership once again. Now, we've actually got a really good home record against West Ham. They haven't beat us at Stamford Bridge since 2021. We put 5 against them last season. So my prediction for this game is going to be Chelsea 3, West Ham 0. But enough about me. I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your predictions in the below, but I also want to hear about your thoughts about this transfer window. What's your thoughts on Evan Ferguson possibly coming, João Felix leaving, Disasi transfer getting blocked? Let me know in the comments below, but don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on your way out, and I will be doing a review after the game, so stay tuned for that. Until next time, up the Chelsea.